Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are doing a no-run-through review for the newest expansion to Res Arcana, Perlae Imperii. I think that's how that's pronounced. And yeah, like I said, this is the second expansion to Res Arcana, which I believe... I don't know if this was on my anticipated for 2021 as an expansion. I actually don't even remember it being mentioned. It kind of sprung up out of nowhere. But like the first expansion to Res Arcana, this really just kind of adds more to the base game. And also, to me, both expansions have significantly enhanced the base game, because the base game itself was so restrictive by your 8 cards, and there wasn't a whole lot of mitigation. Because theoretically, you don't pick your 8. You don't even pick your 10. You don't draw 10 and pick your 8. Right. It's the rules specifically say, and there's no reason why you can't house rule it. Right. You know, draw 10, pick 8, or whatever. But per the rules, it's just hand out 8, look at your 8, and then pick your mage off of that. The first expansion added the inscription, which had the scrolls, and then the illusion, which was probably the biggest thing I think that fixed the base game. And then the second expansion, which is what we're here to talk about, adds pearls. Sexy, sexy pearls. And the pearls themselves are worth 1 victory point, so they changed the game end, so you need 13 points instead of 10. But that's because a lot of pearls can really, like, you just swung 10 points or 8 points out of pearls out of nowhere, and I'm just like, oh god, I have to try. But they can also be discarded to get 1 gold or 2 resources, which is actually really, really nice. So what I'm more interested in, because there's not a whole lot to really talk about with the expansion, it just adds a little bit more, is your thoughts, because this was one game that you wanted to retry because you didn't like the base game, and then I loved the base game, and then I had played the first expansion.
It's definitely an improvement adding the stuff, but it's still just not a game I care for a whole lot. I still think it's too, even though they did a good job of making it to where you can, it's still restrictive, you know, like the 8 cards, and I know it's meant, there's stuff, but like these 3 did nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Well, they did nothing specifically because I happen to have
right, but that's my deal. Like when you only have 8 cards, you know, it's like then it just turns into, which that's what this game is. This is an engine builder. I mean, you're doing stuff to and everything, but like at that point, all I was doing is just gaining reds and zeals just to in game, just to change into a bunch of pearls, and that really wasn't
exciting
because there wasn't. I mean, I didn't even go for these. I didn't even look at these because I just had my one. I saw these cards and I was like, okay, that's going to be my way. I'm just going to try to sneak in a deal.
Which which almost worked. Like, it did. I think it was like I had 13 points to 12.
Yeah, it was competitive. It's just it just wasn't like it's fun for all these purposes.
Yeah, I mean,
it made it better with those.
The pearls. Yeah. I will say the increasing to 13, I know why they did it, because pearls themselves are worth points. The cards, at least the new cards that are getting added, there's no guarantee that those are coming out. Because there's nothing that say, oh, if you're playing with the second expansion, then take out some from the base game. So they're more than likely to come out, because imagine what the second expansion could do is, okay, the threshold is now 13 points because pearls are in the game. You didn't happen to get any cards that give you pearls. I do. And now the 13 threshold really only applies to me, whereas you potentially might be a little bit more hindered because you have no way to get pearls, which also theoretically isn't inherently true, because they do have the calcium or the calcimation, which allows you to get a pearl.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to do on that last turn.
Oh, it was
So I was
burn
gonna
3. Oh, to get
do
your
black,
13.
do that to get that, and then
pass. Yeah.
That was how I was going to get.
Yeah. Well, passing early can be, because then you leave your opponent unchecked, because then I can be like, okay, you have exactly 13, and then I can try and ramp up just to beat you. But so they do have the magic item that allows you to get a pearl, but still, if your opponent has cards that give pearls and do stuff with pearls, then I feel like the 13 is just going to be more restrictive. Because I didn't have a whole lot to do with pearls. You definitely did. My whole thing was water or calm. I hate it's so stupid. And whenever we were looking through my 8, I was like, okay, I can generate water. I can do a lot with water. Okay, these places of power over here deal with water, so that's just what I'm gonna do is try and focus on that. And then you're like, ancient dragon. And I'm like, okay, I gotta protect myself, otherwise I'm getting screwed.
And that was because did you use your mage's ability?
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, like mine couldn't. Like my mage might as well not even have been there.
Yeah,
because I had one dragon card in my hand.
Yeah,
so I got it out. And then you had the defenses for it, and then it's just like, there's no point in me wasting.
You could
turns.
have gone a little bit more aggressive because I don't think you ever took it, but the reanimate allows you to untap any card. So you could have attacked with your dragon. I would have blocked. You could have then untapped him with your dragon tamer. Attack again. I would have had to block, and then you could have then used reanimate to untap him to attack again. And I only had so many, and towards the end I needed to start using fire. The Great Wall is only good if I happen to have fire to ignore it. This is only a one-time block. I mean, I had a lot of ways to protect myself, but that's all they did. I didn't get anything for them. In fact, the Phoenix was a one-time block, because I would have had to discard it to ignore it, but I would get 4 fire, and it goes on top of my deck. So it like comes back like a Phoenix.
And then you have that one card that was like
the dragon,
spend a fire to block.
The monument, the Great Wall. So you could have looked at this and be like, oh, I don't want him to block, so I'll buy that, just so you have it. This game doesn't really, in all the times I've played it, even with both expansions, this game is not an aggressive game. I mean, hell, even if you think about it, it's kind of like, all it does is get rid of life loss. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have life, then it gets rid of... Which essences are everything. But it's not like... This game's not meant to be mean. You could go really combat heavy just to prevent your opponent from being as efficient. But it's never... I don't know. I've never found it to be a strategy worth going for. But to your point, if those are the cards that you're dealt, then that's the way you're playing.
I still think that the house rule thing would still make it.
I've never tried it. I've never
to be able to have some choice. You still may get screwed, but if you have 10 or 12 cards to pick 8 out of, you can alleviate the like you were talking about with the pearls, even and stuff like that.
No, I very much agree. I cannot think of, and that would be a house rule that I would, because you don't have to go out of your way for.
Right.
Instead, it's like, oh, here's 10 cards. Or even just increasing your deck size, like doing 10 cards total. Instead, especially with the expansions, I'm surprised the expansions didn't make you get more cards. Because by both expansions, these are all the cards that weren't touched, which I love about the game. Like that's a lot of variety. It's a really solid engine builder, and unlike, have you played Furnace? Did you play Furnace this year?
No, but I watched it played. Okay,
so Furnace is it's a solid engine builder, but for me, you didn't really do anything. Like, you just kind of had an engine, and here, at least, you're getting resources and stuff to ultimately buy the places of power or the monuments, which give you unique abilities, versus just, if this was it, like, Furnace was kind of like this, and then if you collected essences, and that's it. You didn't do anything with them, you just had them.
Right.
That's what Furnace was. So I can definitely see kind of where you're coming from, where you were really kind of halfway through the game. Once you get all your cards out, then it really is just kind of doing the same motions over and over and over till you can get potentially a big swing of points. And then the game should end. But I like figuring out that puzzle. I like looking through the 8 cards and being like, okay, what can I potentially do here? And with the expansion, the second expansion, having the pearls with the flexibility or the potential points is really neat. Like, some of the new cards, like Trident, spend a pearl to get 6 resources, except gold on that card. My Endless Knot was, if a pearl is left on here, then I can get a gold or 2 resources. A lot of ways to start drawing cards, because discarding cards for resources. So, the expansion kind of just opened up your Essence collection, I think, is really what it did. And can potentially like increase like big victory point swings. So it's an improvement for you, but still not one that you're like, oh, now I need to go out and get this.
Right.
No, I can see that. I can see this game not being for everyone. Like, it might, to me, with the new expansion, it ran on a little bit longer than I thought it should have. I thought 10 points was a really sweet. Like, your engine didn't stay longer than it needed to. Like, because there was a point, it was actually right before you did your massive turn, that I was like, okay, I think I'm at 9 points. Man, I need 13. Like, I was like, oh, God. Now I have to just try and get 4 points. Okay, how can I do that? Okay, I guess I can buy this Cursed Forge and start trying to ramp up gold onto that, and then try and get as much water on my Mystical Menagerie, which ended up working, but barely. So, it's definitely an expansion. I wouldn't say it's a must, but I would say if you like Res Arcana, just get both expansions. It adds more like of a great game. I think Res Arcana is fantastic. However, it doesn't. I definitely, if someone like you would be like, that game fucking sucks, I'd be like, oh yeah, I see why you would say that.
Well, I don't think it sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just doesn't fit for me. You
Sure.
know? Like, it took me the first, 2 or 3 turns of the game for me to even understand kind of the flow of the game, really, just to kind of, because I was looking at all the iconography and trying to figure out.
And it had been a while since you played it last.
Yeah, so. But once I kind of see the stuff, like I wouldn't even have put that stupid thing out because I wasted 12 resources putting that thing out.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 points. Like, there's still 2 points.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, honestly, though, like, you technically do have an engine that you probably could have, because nothing stopped you. Everything else you had ways to get essences. I had no ways to actually hinder you. You could have just kept aggressively attacking me and eventually just whittle me down to prevent me from having to spend, because I was only collecting blue. So it's like, okay, I'm going to make you spend all your red. If you make me spend the red, then I can't get this. So I think you actually had the better engine. You just might have, like, I had some defense that is, you might have been like, oh, why bother? But you'd have to be really persistent to try to just be like, I'm going to keep doing it. Because I guess technically it doesn't hurt you to, unless you're trying to pass before the other person. But then you would have had to get the reanimate instead of something else. But
because we didn't even touch these, did we?
No, I did. Yeah, those are from the first expansion. I did think about I was looking at them, but the way that my cards were, like, they didn't help necessarily. But granted, I could have taken Inscription and then claimed a scroll, and then I'd have a shield. Like, I'd have one more way to defend myself if you really started, like, going hard into attacking, and I have no red, so my Great Wall is useless. I burned my Phoenix to protect them. My Dragon Bridle is the only thing that stops it. Then, yeah, that could have made me be like, okay, well, shit, instead of taking Research or Illusion, I'm going to take my Inscription and then protect myself with the shield. You would have really had me playing defensive the entire time instead of trying to go hard into my places of power. But that's just, I mean, one of those things with this game. You get your cards, and it's going to be a radically different engine. I haven't found in the first game that we ever played of this, I definitely did see, you're like, there was nothing you can do with like 1 or 2 of your cards, besides, I guess, discard it. Which, I mean, I had 3 cards that were good, but like my Diving Cord, I could tap and get rid of a pearl and get 3 gold. That's huge. but I didn't have a whole lot of Pearl generation.
Right.
And then you had a Dolphin. That Dolphin would have been sexy for me because I was all about water.
Right.
So, yeah. It's a small box expansion.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, like, from base game to playing with both, you thought it was an improvement. When you rank it, I am curious if, like, what both your scores would be.
I can't remember what I gave the base game.
Give it the new one. Give it a new one with the base game. I know it wasn't high, but yeah, just more of a great game if you like it. If you don't like Res Arcana, I wouldn't bother. Like, especially with this particular expansion. If you have to pick between the two, I would say the first one, Lux A Tenebrae, because that does mitigate the 8 cards. This just mitigates essences, really. So, all right, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's see. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the expansions?
Well, let's say the base game, I would probably say a 5.
Okay. That's what I thought you probably would have given.
I think that was where I was around. So I would say this expansion probably improves at 1 point.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, just
hey!
It improves it. I mean, it definitely improves it. Just
yeah,
because it gives it that little bit of variation and stuff.
Sure.
But
yeah. So I really like Res Arcana. I don't know how many expansions he plans on making. I wish I still had the never mind. I was gonna say, like, I saw the blue in the top right corner, so I was like, and I didn't see the black at first, so I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna do an expansion for each essence? But no, there's the other colors. So if Res Arcana was an 8, I think I would agree with you. Like, it would probably bump it up to a 9. It just bumps it up an extra point. The expansion itself, I'm gonna give it an 8. Yeah, I think it's a really, really solid expansion, and then combining it all together, it just makes Res Arcana extremely solid, in my opinion. So, all right, that's our thoughts on the second expansion to Res Arcana, Perlae Imperii. Let us know what you think of the expansion in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.